Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Ryan's Trains. Hope you guys had an amazing week. Today's review we're going to be doing is the Lionel Legacy Amtrak f40ph. So this video is going to be very amazing. So let's cut into this amazing locomotive. The EMD F40ph is a 4-axle 300-watt and 3002-watt BB electric locomotive diesel built by General Motors, or originally called Electromotive Division. A series of variants from 1957 to 1992 intended for uses on Amtrak's short-haul passenger routes became the backbone of Amtrak's diesel fleet after the failure of the EMD SDP-40F. The F40ph was also used to commuter train railroads from the United States and Via Rail in Canada. Additional F40ph variants were manufactured by Morris Condusa Motive Power between 1988 and 1998, mostly rebuilt from older locomotives. Amtrak retired the F40phs in the early 2000s in favor of the GE Genesis locomotives. The locomotives remain mainly stay on Via Rail long-distance trains and locomotives hauling the Canadian. Featured on Reverse Frontal Series, the Canadians were 10 billions of F40phs are still a common sight. Many other commuter railroads in the United States, additional Amtrak, kept 22 of their F40phs and used a non-power control units, are also known as cabbage units. So you can still find these F40phs around in today's standards, like at Metra. Metra still's got a lot. Amtrak rarely kind of has a few that are still running that are in cabbage units or originally in this Amtrak paint scheme with like the original body design with the F40phs. These F40phs became very famous with the railroads of Amtrak. They were even used for freight services with Norfolk Southern, and I will be doing that, be pulling just to have fun, pull a freight train with Amtrak F40phs, because they did do that with Norfolk Southern when Norfolk Southern had engine shortages, so Amtrak sent out a few of those. Those engines are amazing with the F40phs, and you can still find some of these. Some of these locomotives are in museums, are still running, and are in display. So you can still find a lot of these F40phs. So now let's go on to the history of Amtrak. During the 70s, passenger service was at a decline. Railroads were losing money because of the plane and the cars that were coming out, and people did not want to ride the passenger train anymore. Then Congress made Amtrak, which would take over passenger service for other railroads, and railroads was still kept on doing their freight runs. Amtrak would take all these passenger cars and would call the Rainbow Era, because all these passenger cars were in different colors and with different railroad companies, which rail fans called them back then the Rainbow Era. Amtrak would then later became formed as Amtrak. Before it was originally called Railpax, but they changed it to be called America and Track. Amtrak would then keep on going through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s to 2023, and Amtrak is still going strong for today's standards. You could still find Amtrak still riding around with passenger trains, and maybe sometimes a mail train. And these F40phs, you could still try to find them, but it's a little hard to find them, but once in a while you'll still find an F40ph, or I would try Metra, because Metra's got a lot of F40s running around. Since that was the history of Amtrak, let's now go into the details of this amazing F40ph. So here's the details of this older gen Lionel Legacy Amtrak F40ph. Right in the top right here, we got two beacons up on the top, a nice separately applied horn, kinematic pilots on the front of the engine. You got a smoke unit, and the back of the engine you got right here. It's a little hard to take off. You got your program switch, your smoke unit, and to pair the engines. Well, to pair the engines, like if you have another Amtrak F40ph or a cabbage unit, you can hook these engines up together and run them. But I only got just one f40ph. And this will be my only f40ph unless I get like an older Amtrak, like back then when Penn Central was over with running engines, just the rainbow era of Amtrak. I would definitely get that just to have some older passenger trains running on the layout than steam engines. But the details of this engine is very nice. Right here in the top above the horn, you got emergency light. So when you press the engine's emergency light on there, it will flash singly, like not singly, like multiple times when the engine's running. It's got these weird like bulbs on the front. When the engine's running, you see they're yellowish lights, which is pretty weird of the engine, but it's pretty nice. Ditch lights on the front of it. Amazing locomotive. I really like the f40phs. They're just unique locomotives, very unique to the O scale and engine histories. So now we'll be cutting on to other parts of the video. So before we run the Amtrak f40ph, sorry that this is in the way. So before we run it, we're going to be running a few MTH cars. We'll be running this Amtrak Express mail car and these two Amfleet coaches. These are the only Amtrak stuff that I got. I'm planning will maybe get a few more Amfleet cars to go with the train. But right now this looks pretty nice as just a little Amtrak train that's just going to be running around. I will add people in the cars, but the cool thing I like about this Amtrak is that MTH has got lights on the back where you could switch them on so the cars will shine on, and I really like that. So now let's continue to the running session of this amazing f40ph.
Dispatcher, ready to roll. Can I pull? Over. Roger that. Take the green. Over. Acknowledged. I've got clear boards. Out.
thank you for coming around and watching this amazing Amtrak F40ph. I'm sorry that my microphone died out halfway through the review, but very sorry about that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Amtrak F40ph and me running around with a freight train. It was really fun to me doing that, just seeing a passenger engine running around with a freight train. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good weekend out there. Have an amazing Memorial Day. And stay safe out there. Take care. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Dispatcher, are we clear through the next block? Over.